If it's good enough for Shakespeare, it's good enough for us. So begins the 1938 Broadway musical, The Boys from Syracuse. The Boys from Syracuse was based on William Shakespeare's The Comedy of Errors. Loosely based. It's got a little bit of Shakespeare's language peppered throughout, but basically it's its own story, a 1930s musical. I've never seen it on stage, but I did watch the 1940 film version with Allan Jones. The film also features a comedian named Martha Raye, who was known for having a big mouth. The movie as a whole was pretty silly, much sillier in fact than the Shakespeare version, which was already silly. But that's alright, not every musical has to be Les Mis. One of my favorite parts in this movie, probably the funniest part I thought, was in the very beginning where Antipholus of Ephesus is making a speech to the crowd, and in fact it's happening right behind me, and he's sort of awkwardly gesticulating throughout the whole thing, and it's very funny. You need the sound on. You need to go watch the movie, but it's very funny. I, for one, was delighted to see one of my favorite character actors from that period, Eric Blore, in it. Probably don't know who Eric Blore is, but maybe you've seen him in a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movie. That's how I know him. And he did pop up elsewhere too, like in the movie Lady Eve with Barbara Stanwyck. I think he is very campy and hilarious. Love him. And in this movie he's playing Pinch, but not the Pinch from the Shakespeare play. Completely a different character. He's playing a tailor along with Angelo, who's supposed to be a goldsmith in the Shakespeare play, but who is another tailor in this play, and they are trying to get their bill paid by Antipholus of Ephesus. If they don't get their bill paid, they can't pay their taxes, and if they can't pay their taxes, so. Obviously, there are a lot of departures from the original Shakespeare play with this musical, especially with the film, which is even a departure from the play. And part of that could have been issues with the Hays Code. For instance, they took out the courtesan completely, so the whole thing with the ring and the gold chain, all of that's gone. It's replaced with the two tailors trying to get their bill. And then another major difference, this would just be between the movie and the original musical, not Shakespeare play. There's a song in the musical that Adriana sings called Falling in Love with Love. That was one of the big hits of the musical. And in the movie, the woman playing Adriana can't sing. She's oddly enough the actual partner of Allan Jones, who is the star of the film, and she can't sing. So obviously they didn't have her sing that song. They had Allan Jones sing it with his love interest, Luciana, or I think she has a different name in this film, but we'll call her Luciana, which is the Shakespeare play name. So he sings it to her, which doesn't make any sense to me, because I mean, the lyrics go something like, I fell in love with love, but love fell out with me. But he's singing it like as a love song to his new romantic interest, which doesn't make any sense. But I mean, Allan Jones sings it well. He's a good singer. I'm not a huge fan of Allan Jones. I think he's fairly mediocre, which is probably why he's not more well known today. But he's fine. He gets the job done. Speaking of the songs, they are very catchy. The Comedy of Errors has always worked with music. People have made it into operas. This is the first musical version of a Shakespeare play. It was made before Kiss Me Kate, which of course is a musical version of Taming of the Shrew. So this came before that. Another couple popular songs that came out of this musical were Sing for Your Supper, which is very cute, and This Can't Be Love, which is also very nice. Now in Shakespeare's original play, the setting for the play is of course Ephesus, but it's sort of this fantasy version, kind of fantasy medieval version of Ephesus, not necessarily like ancient Ephesus, historically accurate. Obviously, this isn't historically accurate either. They have a lot of anachronisms and, 30s type jokes in it. But they do definitely go hard on the ancient Greek aesthetic for the setting and for various references that come up in the songs. Another big difference between the movie and I'm assuming the musical also, although I don't know as much about the musical as I do about the movie, but a big difference between the movie, at least, and the Shakespeare play is that Luciana finds out who Antipholus is way before the end. So obviously in the Shakespeare play, there's all the confusion with the two twin brothers, the Antipholus of Ephesus and Antipholus of Syracuse, and everything getting all mixed up, and everybody finds out the truth at the very end. So in this movie, obviously, Luciana finds out much sooner than that. So is this a brilliant musical? Is it a brilliant 1940s movie? No, it's not. But it's entertaining. I didn't mind watching it. It was perfectly entertaining, and it does have some very catchy songs. I find myself singing the songs once in a while because they just get stuck in my head, and so they are very catchy. But yeah, so if you're a Shakespeare fan, it's close enough to The Comedy of Errors that you'll enjoy it for that reason. And if you're not a Shakespeare fan, it's far enough from Shakespeare and The Comedy of Errors that it's very accessible. And that's The Boys from Syracuse.